Hello YouTube, welcome back to Assetto Corsa, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 1.9 update as well as getting into looking at the first of the Porsche Pack cars. We're going to be taking a look at this wonderful car, the 1974 Porsche 911 or 911 Carrera RSR 3 litre. Now, before we do that, I'm going to first have a look at the 1.9 update and take a little look here at Silverstone 1967 or something like that. Very old historic Silverstone. Let's get straight into it so we don't waste any time. The 1.9 update has added two Porsches. I believe, is it two Porsches or a single Porsche actually? I think it may be just a single Porsche and Silverstone. So we get this track for free, and we get the Porsche Panamera G2, so the new version of the four-door luxury Panamera, you know, the four-door Porsche, which I don't actually personally like, but there we go. As well as that, we've got this Porsche Volume 1 DLC package, which is one of three DLC packages that we're going to get with Porsche on sale, or you can get Season Pass on Steam right now for £12.49, that's pounds sterling. So that's actually quite cheap because you're going to get about 21 cars or something for that price, plus the 3 additional cars from the 1.9. I think that works out to be what, €15, something like $17.50 or something like that. I'm not very good with conversions because of, you know, economy fluctuations. You learn it one day and the next day it's, you know, the conversion rate's all different. Anyway, this isn't just about Porsche DLCs. Of course, that's one of the main parts, and the next few weeks we'll be looking at that. But 1.9 has done quite a lot to change the audio of Assetto Corsa. So they've upgraded the FMOD sounds, as we've talked about this before, using FMOD for the better sound engine. But they've upgraded that. Now, that being said, that means a number of mods have broken sounds now, and I know people are going to complain, but I think this is something that they're working on, optimizing the sounds, making sure that it's not using too much, you know, there's not so much resource usage, so that they can put those resources into something else, which I think is really, really good. The sound changes are not huge, they're not huge, but they are quite subtle but noticeable, which is quite good. However, Kunos have already released the development kit for the FMOD, which means that a lot of the mods should have the sounds updated very, very quickly. So that's a good thing. Anyway, other things about the 1.9 update: GT3 cars are now up to version 10 tires, which is really, really good. Sparko now has an official license, so that's nice. We can get some Sparko gloves, helmets, race suits. Helmets? They don't do helmets, do they? No, they don't do helmets. Maybe seat belts, you know, the harnesses and all of that. Sparko will get that. And I think they do seats as well, don't they? I'm sure they do seats. So that's going to look really, really nice. That's going to be something just to add in. For those of you who play online, you're going to get some nice anti-wrecker protection or something, which allows you to ban or put server bans and different types of penalties on those drivers who crash quite a bit in a race. So obviously those who are obviously around to just crash and ruin the enjoyment of others can be banned from servers. So that's really, really good. Of course, it's still nowhere near the iRacing standard, which I think is the standard, but it's nice to see that this is happening. It's very, very nice to see that this is happening. What else is there? I'm just looking around. Dynamic anti-roll bars. They've changed a few bugs here and there. DirectX 11 initialization's been simplified. You can add ballast to your cars now. The leaderboard can be in vertical view, so there's that. What else is there? I'm just looking through the list right now to see if there's anything that's interesting apart from that. 7.1 surround sound should work as expected, it says. So there's that. Don't know how good that's going to be. I haven't checked the 7.1 yet. I may take a look at that, but we'll have to see. There's some changes to the skidding noises, all of that. The gear grinding, which is one of the things that I really didn't like. The gear grinding has been changed. Of course, you've got all the cars, the Porsches that have come in, so there's been some updates for that. There's been some minor graphics fixes on the previous pack, the triple pack, so they've done that. And there's some daytime running lights on the LaFerrari, the McLaren P1, the 370 Nismo, the GTR, and the Ford Mustang. And I think that's about it with version 1.9 that I can really talk about. We can have a quick look at this Silverstone though. Why not? Why don't we have a quick look at Silverstone? You can see here it's quite a nice track. I do really like it. What are we going through right now? That looks like Abbey Corner right there. Now this is part of the track that obviously I've never seen this track, but this is part of the track I used to watch in F1. This is the old bridge. I've actually been on the track here. This is Bridge Corner coming up to Brooklands, and this is where it joins up to the main track. So you can see here that's the National Pit Straight, and there's the pits there. I've been all around this area, and it's interesting for me to look at this in this old view as I get the gears quite wrong. I'll talk about that in a minute. I'll also talk about, I think a couple of issues was, you can see there's no head tracking on this. You may have seen me try to get it at the start of the video, but for some reason it all went wonky, so I don't have head tracking in this one. I was spending the entire video whilst driving trying to fix this head tracking. Hence you'll see me go on the grass a few times and a few things like that. So we've just gone through, we just went through Cops, and then we've just gone through Maggots, and this is Beckett's now. So we're going through Beckett's, and you're going to come up to Chapel, and then we're going to be down the Wellington Straight, Hangar Straight. So we're going to be going down the Hangar Straight. Where is the hangar? I'm actually looking for the hangar, because obviously this is just after wartime. Okay, yeah, 20 years after it, but this is, this is now a Formula 1 track, but it still has a lot of the old, obviously all the wartime stuff. So there's probably the control tower is probably somewhere here, or the control building. Anyway, so we've just gone round. We went around Stowe. Now we're coming down the straight, coming up to what is now the International Pit Straight. So this is the International Pits Complex here, which, as you can see, is grass back in the 1960s. And this is the International Pit Straight, where they would now go right through the Abbey Corner, but here it's the Abbey Corner which goes left, where you just have to lift off and put your foot back down. There you go. You can see the hangar and all those buildings. Anyway, this is very nice. I do like this Silverstone, but we're not here to talk about that Silverstone. We're here to talk about the Porsche Pack. So, what is included in Porsche Pack 1? That's what I want to tell you guys. You got the 911 Carrera S, which is a really nice car. I've already driven it. 935 Moby Dick, I haven't tried that one yet. 918 Spider, again, haven't tried that one yet, but it does complete that whole, the three cars. We were after the LaFerrari, the McLaren P1, and now we've got the 918 Spider. We can pit them against each other. I'm going to do that. The Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport. So we've got a GT4 car to compete against the Maserati. That's nice, and against one of the Lotus cars. We have a GT4 Lotus car, I think. The 718 Cayman S, again, that's a lovely car to drive with a manual gearbox, which I'm really liking. The 917 30, I haven't tried that one, and the 911 Carrera RSR 3-litre 1974, which is what I'm driving right here, right now. I won't mention what's around in the next lot, because I think there's no point me mentioning that until those those packs are actually released. So let's talk a little bit about this particular car, the 1974 Porsche 911 Carrera RSR 3.0 or 3-litre. So it took Porsche, this was developed at the time where Porsche were winning a lot of races, and they had the 917. So obviously we just mentioned 917. They had the 917, and that car had been banned in 1971. So they had to make one of these. Now, of course, these are based off real road cars. So you've got the the 911, the standard 911, which is of course still in production today in its various forms, which I think is quite nice. It's interesting to see how that car has lasted so many years. of course being upgraded all the time, but it still looks like a 911, or in some people's eyes it looks like a wide and squished Beetle, which I sort of can see as well, because there is a lot of Beetle in there, a lot of Volkswagen Beetle in there. Anyway, 3-litre engine, of course, and it was supposed to be going on in 1974. Of course, that was when it was going to race. It was built around the 911, of course, the production car, because that's how you had to do things. They still have to do that, all the homologation and stuff. You notice though, it's got a lot wider wheel arches. Everything's flared. There's a front spoiler, which has got that really nice air cooler. Sorry, it's not an air cooler. I think it's an oil cooler. Pardon me. It's an oil cooler there, and it's got this nice rear wing, which you actually see on other Porsches. You have seen them on other Porsches before. I've forgotten what they called them. Some sort of tail. Was it shark tail? Not shark tail. Shark tail's a cartoon. Whale tail, I think whale tail. Anyway, so they had this. So you had the 3-litre car, and you also had they had to add some structural rigidity to the car. So they've got a full roll cage inside, aluminium roll cage, and some coil springs, which is different because instead of using torsion bars, they're using coil springs here. The engine itself is a what is it? A rear longitudinally mounted, of course, rear engine. I'm just trying to remember what the engine is. It's a 3-litre magnesium alloy block engine, so it is quite light for what it is, and it churns out 330 brake horsepower at about 8,000 RPM. So you can see that I rev it up to just about 8,000 RPM before I shift gear. That's close to its red line actually. And it has 314 Newton meters of torque, or that's 232 pound-feet of torque at 6,500 RPM. Considering the weight of the car, which is what is the weight of the car? 900 kilograms? I think it's 900 kilograms or something. So it's actually generating about 400, I'm just trying to work this out. 400, about 420 bhp per ton, which is actually quite impressive. And of course the engine is producing 110 bhp per litre. So it's quite a nice engine right there. The body is steel and fiberglass, so I suppose that's, 1960s. It is going to be, it's going to have that kind of weight on it. And it's a 5-speed manual gearbox, the Type 915 one, I believe. So it's quite an interesting gearbox as well. I like manual gearboxes. Of course, this is before the days of synchronizers and things like that, so you do have to rev match a lot. It's very easy to get this car, the wheels spinning, things not going in gear properly. It's a lot easier to do that, but it's really nice and fun to be rev matching and heel and towing and making sure that you're not messing up too badly. And I did really enjoy that. And of course it's a rear wheel drive, so you do have to be careful. However, with those really chunky rear wheels, it did have so much grip, plenty of grip. And this car did win a number of races. I think some of its major wins include the Daytona 24 Hours in 1975, 1976 Sebring 12-hour race, the 1977 Daytona 24-hour race, and the 1977 Sebring 12-hour race. So that is pretty good. And there's been a number of other race wins, of course. And 55 of these cars were built. And I thought I'd just mention that because I'd forget. And just back to its actual power to weight ratio, you're looking at about 0.37 bhp per kilogram, and you're looking at 179 miles an hour or thereabouts in the top speed. Pretty good. Quickly moving on to what it's like in Assetto Corsa. Well, modelling, again, it's just, the modelling is brilliant. Yeah, the modelling is of course brilliant. The texturing, similarly brilliant. Why? I was kind of hoping for some more liveries. I mean, there's lots of liveries, but I was kind of hoping for some official Porsche liveries, but we don't have that, so I suppose you have to deal without. That's okay though. that is really okay. I do like the way everything looks inside. It looks very old, very classic. I do really enjoy that. And with the modelling and everything put together, the colours that Kunos have picked for the car, so for example this orange, it's actually really nice. It does suit the car very well. So does the livery. It's just very classic. I like that. Sounds. I like the sounds. I do like the sounds. It's very raw, very guttural. There's a lot of noises going on. They've got this old style brake squeal now that they've implemented in some of the old cars, so that's present in this car too. I like that. The sounds are, I'd say, not the best of the best quality, but if you crank up the volume, it does give you a really good feeling of an old car. Like a really good feeling of an old style car. So I do enjoy that. But of course, sound is not everything. Visuals is not everything. Texturing is not everything. As good as they are, it's all about how the car feels, the force feedback, things like that. Force feedback's really good on the car. I have to admit, I left it slightly too high here, so you're going to notice it's clipping around some of the corners. I'm just waiting for it to clip. And of course it doesn't clip around that corner. But it does clip around a few corners. I should have dropped it a bit. But the force feedback's really nice. It does give you a good feeling as to what the road's doing. The Silverstone track is a lot bumpier and dustier than normal. You don't want to go off track here. Especially, there's little areas off track, little tarmac runoffs, like this one you see here. Don't go through them. There's even one just here coming up. You can see that. If you go into that too much, you just catch, it just slides you out because it's very dusty and very low grip in that area. Anyway, back to the car. Physics wise, it feels really good. Its grip, it's got a lot of grip. It's very grippy, but when you put the foot down, it feels like it's got power. It's progressive. It feels nice. The gear shifts feel solid. It feels like a race car. It really does feel like a race car, but at the same time it feels very classic. So the brakes, you have to get into them hard. There's no ABS, so you have to really feel that limit of the brakes. Traction as well, there's no traction control, so when you're getting on those limits, you just want to feel that. And because of the wider tires, it does tend to understeer a little bit around high speed corners, so you have to be aware of that. Really, I found a good solution to that is just lift off the accelerator, flick it in just slightly and get back on the accelerator nice and smoothly, and it would just hold around the corners, which I thought was really cool. I did enjoy the car. The suspension feels really quite firm. It feels like a race car. It feels like it wants to grip the ground. Doesn't have much body roll in the car. You know, the heel toe, when going through downshifting heel toe, I was even double clutch upshifting at some points, and it does feel quite well simulated. It feels really well simulated. I enjoyed the car. I have to say I enjoyed the car, and I never thought I'd enjoy Porsches that much, but having driven this one and having driven a few others, Porsche really do make nice cars, and I'm glad that Porsche is finally in a simulator like Assetto Corsa, and I think it's very accurately represented. Really, I don't think there's much that needs to be updated on this. Sounds, like I said, just a little bit of work there, and I think a lot of the problems is probably down to inferior equipment. Really, I think it's down to inferior equipment. I enjoyed the car. I'm going to give the car a 9 out of 10. I think I'll give the car a 9 out of 10 as I end this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to my channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa. Leave a comment in the comments box below. Next week, I'm going to have a look at the Cayman S and the Panamera G2 Turbo. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you guys next week.